to know. From masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 825, release the Craven.
No, don't do that.
824 if you really want to count.
Well,
If you really want to count, we're in like the 900s.
I'm just saying. Last week's was 823.
I thought you said
That's not how numbers
A24.
work. I did think you said
And this
A24.
didn't feel like an A24 film to me, but
that's weird because my notes have 823, but I didn't use my notes last week, which means last week's.
I don't know.
Who
This happens a lot. I feel like we have this. I feel like we have this conversation a lot though, where your notes have the thing and you skip them, but you've already skipped them or something.
Yeah, I don't know because I didn't use the Word document because
know,
I
I
had
know.
two concerts in a row last week.
Oh,
And so I was at work doing the
I got
So
you.
weird.
doing the show notes.
Brain
So,
fried.
I
Do you
don't know.
think I'm gonna blame it on AI?
Yeah,
I'm
They
going to
just
blame it
know.
on Sony.
we don't have that kind of money.
That's true.
To get
Well,
the
you
AI.
chat GPT and whatever. The free Google one.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
use a free one. I use the one that
I gotta tell you,
Clubhouse pays for.
I did make some. I did but I showed someone the AI episode with my
Yeah,
voice,
yeah.
Oh yeah,
and she was like, "That's terrifying."
Right?
And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
it's creepy."
I mean,
It's super creepy.
Other than if people have listened to 800 episodes and they kind of know how you interject
Sure,
things
sure,
or
sure.
whatever, but as far as listening to it, it's like, I mean, that was all the
Yeah.
model was based
It was-
on your voice.
it was
and
wild.
that's like what 3 or 4 years ago. At
Oh
this point.
yeah,
Something, yeah.
yeah. It was
So,
a
like,
while
what
ago.
would it sound like now?
Oh, now it would be even better, I'm sure, with
Yeah.
more inflections and stuff.
Sure,
I
sure,
thought
sure.
that was a good episode. I thought that would have
Because
caught
I wasn't
more
here?
traction. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
obviously,
right.
I thought that was why, but I don't know. I thought it was pretty clever the way
It
that
was
we
very-
did that
it was
based on
very
the
clever.
subject matter.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time on it, and I just thought it might get.
Isn't that
a
the
little bit
worst
more.
when you put that much level
Yeah.
of work and everybody's like, "Yeah, whatever."
That's why I don't try anymore.
Yeah.
What's the point?
That seems to be the stuff that really goes viral.
Not trying.
Just
Oh.
it's
Oh,
all
sure.
accidental.
Oh,
100%.
sure, sure, sure.
It's just
Yeah.
like
100%.
like you'll put all that work into it, and nothing happens, and then I'll knock my soda over on my
Yeah.
computer, and that's the thing that gets.
And you'll have
million
100
views.
memes, and you
Yeah.
go knocks over.
and then you
soda."
keep doing it to try to do it again. You're
Right.
ruining computers left and right.
Yeah,
but
right,
no,
right.
Only the
Nothing.
first one is.
Yeah,
It's only
well,
the
because
good
I
one.
switched to Chromebooks, and
Sure.
that's not as fun.
Not as
for
fun.
people to watch.
Do a MacBook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
823 is the last one. They have all the episode numbers under the titles.
that's so weird.
Oh.
Okay, so let's go around the table, and everyone can introduce themselves.
This is Joe.
This is Kevin.
I'm Matt.
And this is Tom. Before we dig in, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. Super helpful, greatly appreciated. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. It's called the League of Show Sharers because we are hoping you will share an episode. People who were kind enough to share an episode this week include Tammy Lynn Powers, Betts, Chris Valls, Ralph Tribble, Lane Levanway, Gabriel Lugo, Tom Dowdy, Julianne Jordan, Chris Magic Man, Travis Tewitt, Glenn Cougar, Mellon Brewer, Phil Timon, David Rojas, Aaron Kyleman, Heather Sachs, Colby Mack, Dissect That Film, Ryan Terry, James Install, Jarpo, Ronnie Castle, Geek to Me Radio, Mike, and Oscar, In Session Film, a Nostalgia Cast, and Kevin Brackett.
Hey.
He was sitting there the whole time,
Just
waiting to see.
Just
and
waiting.
I was like, I'm gonna make him wait to the very end.
Man,
Make him sweat it out.
That's right.
So,
I can't catch me on a Batiste rule.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that goddamn Batiste
Wouldn't be
rule.
got dead in the Batiste rule.
No, I wouldn't either, honestly.
and also don't forget we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Real Spoilers, where for $5 a month you get all sorts of bonus content, and one day they will release the episode that I did, and we like you extra. And of course you can watch all of these over on the YouTube, so go give that a whirl and
Yes.
see what nerd shirts we're wearing this
Oh,
week.
well, all right. So it's
Yeah.
just me then.
Just me.
Oh, I guess it is just you.
I don't think you can
I
count.
can't remember St. Louis
Sports
Blues.
and is not
St.
really
Louis
nerds.
Blues
Not
hockey.
nerds.
Yeah,
Sports ain't nerd.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that put the nerds in
Depends.
trash cans.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
You're the enemy.
It's a very tight rope to walk, my friend.
Yeah.
That's
It is
gotta be
very
tough.
hard. It
Being
is
a
very
comic
hard.
sports nerd.
Do you ever put yourself in a locker?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Just just to feel better.
On general principle.
Yeah, right.
So
I'll make you like I love hockey statistics shirt.
Yes.
That'll work.
If I could get, I like goalies, APB
Yeah,
or whatever
yeah.
the hell it is. Yes.
So anyway, there's all that. Craven.
Gentlemen, we saw one entire franchise die on this podcast. Hopefully, we have just seen a second one die.
Well, no, we saw the
Snyderverse. That's gone.
That's
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
I'm
I
talking
thought
about.
you were saying this was
No,
No, we
sure
saw
this-
one,
this
and
is
this
the
is
second one.
hopefully
This
the
is
second
the
one.
second.
I heard Netflix was going to buy the Snyder verse. Is that not
No.
real?
Well,
I
I mean,
love that-
everyone's talking about that. What's that movie they did in 2 parts, which was really cool, and then a director's cut? What was that?
I have no idea.
What was that thing called? No, not the Army. I can't even
Oh.
remember what that thing's called. What's that thing called?
Rebel Moon.
Sorry, there
Yes,
it is.
yes.
That's taken the world by storm.
Yeah,
so
big time.
Surely that will
Yeah,
gain some
their
attention.
cheese puffs are flying off the shelves. I'll tell you that.
I bought every single merch on clearance from Walmart from Rebel Moon. Just
Why?
because someday some obscure Snyder nerd is gonna go, I want the tank
Well-
popcorn bucket, and I'm gonna sell it for $200.
Or-
I bought it for $8.
In 10 years, will there be all the headlines that are like, was Rebel Moon unfairly
Right?
criticized?
But they were all on clearance. They finally went to that. They were on clearance for, I kid you not, a year. Remember?
Yeah.
I sent you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
pictures, and they never dropped them down. They finally moved them to that other section, and then they cut the clearance price that was like 70% off in half. And I'm like, I'm gonna buy them because they're so obscure. They didn't sell them anywhere else except for Walmart.
Oh, is that right?
It was a Walmart exclusive. They had all that merch, so no one can find them. No one bought them. They
That's
probably
funny.
all got thrown away at the other Walmarts. Like they'll just trash.
Yeah, they don't
clearance
care.
once
Walmart-
it, right?
Walmart don't care.
So I got like the last ones, and I'm like, how many people actually bought this? So in 10 years or whatever, when someone's like, I love Rebel Moon, I need the whatever, I got 'em.
So
That
you-
movie is so bad.
I've got
Oh, you
somewhere,
watched it?
Oh, wow.
Somewhere I've got all the roly-poly-oly figures in boxes like that.
What cut did you watch?
Whatever. Was,
All of them.
oh, just the one that was released on Netflix.
The one you didn't have to wait for.
Yeah.
They're
No,
both on
well,
Netflix,
that's-
but
you
that's
can't.
no.
Then you
Joe.
haven't seen it. Then you haven't seen
I guess
it.
that's true. I haven't watched the 7-hour director's cut.
That's really good.
There's only one director that's going to make me sit somewhere for 4 hours, and that's Quentin Tarantino, because I watched the Hateful Eight
Okay.
extended cut, and I was like, man,
Okay.
I
got
did too.
it's really
Oh,
good.
yeah.
I like
For
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
The road show.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you guys, what are we doing here? This movie got delayed for what, a year? It was supposed to come out in March, and now it's
okay.
December.
Okay.
But I'm saying, what were we even doing? Like,
They fixed it.
delay it. Oh yeah, okay.
I
'Cause,
honestly-
like, what were we doing in the meantime?
Initially, I thought they were trying to wait until there wasn't really anything out that could compete with it.
Oh yeah, just drop it with Wicked. And
But
with-
then I was like, but you've got Mufasa, you've got Wicked, you've got Moana. Like,
they just delayed until.
in their defense, God damn, none of those movies are competing for this demo.
that's fair.
Where nobody's like, do I go see Craven or Wicked?
Yeah.
You know,
Your girlfriend can go see Wicked, and you can go see Craven.
or you've already sat through Wicked with your girlfriend, and so now she
This is
owes
your-
you
this is your-
one.
this is your
But-
and it's
payback.
either this or a hand job.
yeah,
But-
take the hand job. What are you doing? Yeah.
But in their not defense, no one wants to see this movie.
I-
They are
I-
making movies that no
This
one
is what
wants
I. This
to
is
see.
God damn it! You're making me defend this movie. But this is what I will say. Out of all of these movies, right?
Yes, this is the part I was waiting to laugh at you
Venom.
about, because Joe said, well, maybe this one.
No, I
You
said.
did-
I said this character doesn't need Spider-Man
Sure.
to be a character.
Right. But
Madam
then we
Web
said they're not
needs
gonna, They're
Spider-Man.
not going to do it.
And then Venom needs Spider-Man. Morbius also doesn't really need
But
Spider-Man.
But Craven's big thing is, okay, one, he's a hunter. They decided to change that in this movie.
take away any of the hunting.
So he's a hunter, and
I heard him say that he's a hunter 5 or 6 times.
and remind me again in the movie, what did he hunt?
bargains. He's hunting deals.
Because Okay, and the other thing is, what is Craven's thing? Oh, I've hunted everything.
I've hunted all the big game, and I need a new challenge.
The big
lions
story,
and tigers and bears aren't
I
difficult
cannot
for me.
recommend enough, is Craven's Last Hunt.
Yeah.
And it runs through like it was like Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular, it ran through all of the
so
books.
someone had a great idea, and I don't know why they just don't either maybe take a poll or something, because clearly they cannot get one good original idea. Have him hunt Venom. You've got the rights to Venom. Just change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
But
the
he-
exact
but wait,
same thing with
can
Venom.
they-
He's a monster, a
Yeah,
big game,
yeah.
right?
Can they not use Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire?
I
No,
don't believe
I
they
think
can
they-
use.
You think that those are automatically in the MCU?
No, I think they can use those.
I think
So
they
you
have a
have-
deal.
because that
I
was
th-
the first thing everybody was like, oh, then we should go back and make Spider-Man 4 or
Spider-Man
I
3.
mean, there's a
Amazing
picture
Spider-Man 3.
of him in one of the movies,
Yeah.
and I would think if you
yes.
can't use him, you
but
can't use him, but maybe
they've got like I think an airtight deal with
Those
MCU
two
to where
versions?
I think they have to approve. Like Sony owns the rights, but because they're paying so much of the box office or whatever to the Tom Holland stuff, like I do think they have to work.
Well, I know
together
they can't
to
use
just-
Tom Holland.
No, I know, but
I
like
thought they
anything with
could-
Spider, because
but-
then why aren't they doing it? There should
Yeah.
be a Spider-Man
That's
movie
but
in production.
You're right. There is a scene in Morbius where we see the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man on a Daily Bugle
Right.
paper. That's also the part that drives me crazy about this movie. You've
One of
got
many.
the Daily Bugle.
Uh-huh.
You've got the Chameleon.
Uh-huh.
You've got a reference to Miles Warren.
I always have been a bit of a chameleon. Oh my God, the writing! Can we talk about the writing in this movie?
Okay, hot take. This movie's complete trash. It's the best of these.
I think
Oh,
I agree.
Because it
I
actually,
agree.
okay, the beats are actually trying to be a movie,
Yeah.
but put that aside.
no,
it's still really
it's awful.
bad.
I started the sentence with it's trash, but
Okay.
of these Spider-Man-less Spider-Man movies, this is the
I'm
least
so-
if you
trash.
were digging through a trash can and you found this one
If
in there,
you
you'd
were
go,
homeless,
Clean this up a little
if you were homeless and forced to eat only from food you found in dumpsters,
Yes.
this one would be marginally
This would be
consumed.
this
is
would
the
be the
donut
one
on top.
Yes, this would be
Yes,
like the one
in
where
the
like
doily.
I can pick this piece off and,
Right.
and it won't kill me or
I
whatever.
can cut off one of the beginnings of this movie and maybe one of the endings.
What else? Is there something else that makes you mad? I didn't
Oh,
even-
well, it's the amount. Madam Web did this. Venom didn't, to their credit. Venom did not introduce, besides Carnage, but like they didn't really introduce any other Spider-Man characters. Madam Web did it, and then this one did it, where it's like you've got the Daily Bugle, you've got Craven, you've got the Chameleon, you've got a reference to Miles
Jackal.
Warren, you've got
his canonical fear of spiders.
which is true.
Oh,
That
and,
is-
what,
that
and
is
what
a
was the gal's name that saved?
Calypso. Oh,
are you,
yes.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty
Because
sure.
I don't think they said it.
But I don't think that's the one that I'm not sure about. Like, I don't know that she's a Spider-Man character. Like, I don't know that she was introduced in Spider-Man.
no, she's just
so
a
I-
Craven character.
So
but
I don't really know how Sony gets the rights to a character. Or
well,
can
they
use-
must hunt Spider-Man in an issue where
She's in. She. I
well,
think
they own
he- I-
Craven, and she's in Craven, so they own a lot of the Marvel
so you
stuff.
think
that's
because
not,
a character interacted with a different character, Sony gets the rights to
well,
that?
I just think that if she's in those books,
I think they got a contract that says you get these, right? Because
Right.
obviously at some point Spider-Man interacted
Right.
with the X-Men, but they're not going to get the X-Men.
That's true.
right?
Okay,
And
okay.
so,
they must
but-
have a huge contract.
so I'm
Yeah.
sure
Craven,
when
Calypso, but-
when they're licensing, there are some obvious ones that are at the top of the list. If with adjacent that are Spider-Man adjacent.
Sure.
But I'm sure it goes deeper and deeper, and you get into some pretty deep cuts,
Yeah.
and they're probably just like, yeah, Calypso.
the Rhino,
yeah.
which is also wild that we've had two different versions of that.
Did you
character.
ever think that you would
get a second
hope-
version of the
hope
Rhino
for the Paul Giamatti Rhino? Like, did you ever think that you'd be clamoring for
I
it?
liked the idea of that character, but boy, oh boy.
I mean, it was fine for what it was, to go back to Tom's beautiful take, is that the whole thing's garbage.
The least garbage of garbage.
I mean, how to do a human giant Rhino man thing? You know what I mean? Like, it was fine. That was not the thing where I went, well, I was into Craven, but the Rhino doesn't. I mean, it's stupid. The movie, when it starts off and Craven is like a 007 secret agent good guy doing like these amazing tasks.
Yeah.
and then they flash back for 30 minutes. I messaged you guys because I was
Insane.
the only person in the theater, and I'm like, is the entire movie just a flashback? And they got Aaron Taylor Johnson for the wraparound.
Yeah.
There was a moment where I thought that.
Because it goes for like 30 minutes.
It's a long
I
time
mean,
with those kids.
Yep.
Because I'm like, I'm okay with a flashback where it's like, well, what happened to him? Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, I see. Now we're back to him. But I'm like, is Aaron Taylor Johnson the main character of this movie? Because I don't know.
That Rhino guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh his dad burned him real bad in the beginning.
The first time he kind of rhinos out a little bit, right?
Yeah.
He's like, my skin gets real hard, like a rhino.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then later he goes full rhino and he's got a horn on his head.
yeah. The horns grow
Yeah,
out of his head.
like
It's
a
just-
rhino. That's not the thing that makes him say. He doesn't say, "Oh, and I grow a horn like a rhino."
That was the thing that killed me about this, because in the world of superpowers and this kind of fantasy, whatever, right? Your skin gets hard, okay, by some magic. Your skin,
Or you've got
but you
some-
grow a horn, and then when
Yeah.
you transform back, the horn disappears. But you are growing.
It's one of those
horn.
things that I think is great. What they don't talk about about the Red Hulk
Yeah.
is that in the spoilers for the Red Hulk in the comic books, it is the same character. It's Thunderbolt Ross.
Mm-hmm.
When he's a human, regular guy, he's got that big Thunderbolt
Sure.
Ross mustache. When he turns into the Hulk, he doesn't have a mustache. But when he goes back, the mustache is
Yeah.
back. What I think is funny in this next Captain America movie is Harrison Ford, who is replacing
William Hurt.
William Hurt, says that his campaign people told him to shave off the mustache so that he won't have
Smart.
it as the Red
That's a
Hulk.
smart,
But I was
yeah.
like, that was the big reveal in those comics, is that nobody
Right.
knew who the Red Hulk was. They're like, who is this guy?
Oh, because
and then
no mustache couldn't be him.
right, and then everybody's just like, wait a minute,
I don't think Harrison Ford's ever had a mustache, honestly.
he's
now
had
that
a
I think about it.
beard.
But
not
I
a-
never. I don't think I've ever seen him with just a mustache.
I don't know.
No, I mean he had a
Really
beard
not.
in The Fugitive,
Yeah.
and he had like scruff and mosquito.
If that was even a real beard,
I don't
though,
think that
you
it
know,
was a
I
real
mean,
beard. I've seen
Are
that
you
movie a lot.
questioning Harrison Ford's ability to grow a beard?
No, I think Harrison Ford could absolutely grow a beard.
I don't know. I've just never seen him with like a full beard. When he's older, he did have a big white scruffy beard, like COVID.
Oh my
or
God, does he have a
something.
mustache?
He looks like Commissioner Gordon.
Look at that!
Look at
I've never.
that
would be
guy.
that's commission.
That's
That
him.
is.
That
him.
is Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, show it to the camera.
That's wild.
That's Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
right
I
there.
just think if you were describing a rhinoceros,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
you'd start with the horn.
You have to start with the horn.
But this movie likes to tiptoe around little things.
I
like
think that's
that.
a hurtful stereotype.
Well,
Rhino.
But okay, so the thing is, this is the problem with all of these Sony Marvel movies. Not that they're just
They
bad.
exist.
Yes.
Yes.
But every one of these movies that can't use Spider-Man is like, well, we need someone to root for, and these are all villains.
Yeah, they turn all
They're-
they try to turn
so
the
they're all-
villains into heroes.
They're all good.
well,
Yeah.
they go way too far, right? Because I haven't seen the Penguin, but people talk about it. It's good.
But like he's a bad
My
guy.
assumption
They don't
is
make him a
by
good.
the end,
yeah.
you're not like
You're-
what a good-hearted
Yeah,
man.
he's-
you know how in The Godfather,
Sopranos,
you're
The
on,
Godfather.
you're in with Michael
Yeah.
Corleone. It's like
You know
that.
they're bad though, right?
Yes.
So in this
Batman
movie,
would want to beat up Michael Corleone.
100%.
Spider-Man and
Yes.
Craven would be like, oh, we're the same.
you want yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the problem is you want to. I've said this from the beginning. I started off with DC movies, and I'm like, I want the bad guys to be bad because the whole point is you want Batman to beat him up and throw him in Arkham Asylum.
And then get out, and then murder more
Yeah,
people, and then cycle repeats.
Right, but you're
Become
never
CEO of a healthcare company.
yeah, you're not supposed to like them. And the same thing is true with these Sony Marvel movies. Every single one is about a villain building up to the Sinister Six, except for Madam Web. But you know,
Morbius isn't a villain, though. He is not it's one of those miscommunications.
Okay,
I'm so tired of your Morbius apology
Yeah.
attitude.
but
He's
fine,
not a villain.
but
it's
he's
not a bad movie.
Yeah.
And let me explain.
No, I meant the character.
but you're not supposed to root for them like that because the whole point is you're supposed to root for Spider-Man to take
Right.
these guys out. And if you make a whole movie, I'll talk about Craven because it's kind of relevant to
kind
this
of.
episode. But like this movie turned Craven from a hunter into a conservationist.
gatherer.
Yeah, it's a gatherer, very much
But
so.
like the character, I'm okay. If you want to tweak the origin stories a little bit or whatever, but like you just took away the thing that makes this character what he is. And
Well,
what
I
he
think
does.
that there's such like people hate big game hunters.
Yeah, and
so
so-
they're scared to death to make
I
know,
know,
guy the
and,
big game
but you know
hunter.
what?
Yeah.
You don't make a hero movie about
Well,
a character
I
who's a
think-
big game
I
hunter.
think you can make him. I think what people hate are the big game hunters who don't hunt. Right? They're sitting in the back of a car waiting for the real hunters to be like, there he is. You know, like there's no
But like,
skill involved.
I
If
get
you're
it. People, but general public does not like anyone who kills animals.
Ah.
Like it just
in a
I'm saying-
movie, right? Too. It's
Yeah.
I
like
gotta tell you, if there's enough of the said animal and they're gonna be okay, I don't care.
That's fine, but I'm
Yeah, I
saying
mean there
get
are lots
the
of
P-
deer hunters. Like I
Yeah.
don't think anybody's upset,
If you want to
know.
go, if you want to go shoot a lion, if you actually want to go out and hunt a lion, okay,
right.
good luck to you.
But the PR image of it all, I totally get it, and I agree. We're saying the same thing. But you don't make a hero movie. He's a villain.
Yeah.
Don't
Right.
give him a sympathetic hero movie. And then I'm watching this movie, and the whole time they've made him like pretty much the straight up hero. Yes, I know he's not.
It's not
following
a
the
straight
laws.
up hero. He's a hero.
Right. But then I'm like, by the end, I'm like, okay, so when in the big picture, when he fights Spider-Man, why are we going to be not rooting for him?
That's a great question. That's a
Are-
great
but-
question.
Okay, are we're and I this franchise, for lack of a better word, loose confederation of films that are all adjacent to a superhero we never see. Were they? Was the plan ever to
get
they
him?
were going to
because
interact
Michael
with Spider-Man?
Keaton is in the MCU and he shows up in
Oh.
Morbius.
Yeah, he's
They
the-
were getting the
right.
Sinister Six together to
But-
presumably
but
fight
wait,
Spider-Man.
Okay, how? So we're saying that Morbius was in the MCU. How was Michael Keaton in that jail scene when we've never heard of Morbius in?
he gets
You know what I
sucked
mean?
in, right? With the
If Morbius is not
Yeah.
in the sacred timeline, if you will, but Michael Keaton is, how do they cross paths?
doesn't Michael Keaton get sucked in with the spell?
Yeah, there's
Somehow.
I mean, I guess you could
but the
make
point
the
was that
argument.
they had
He's-
an MCU guy visit the Sony
Well,
verse to
the-
then start the Sinister Six.
think
So
the
my plan, I would.
Jail scene is the trailer, but he actually shows up. He like flies in a post. It's like
He does a
different.
he
jetpack
does.
or something,
he says,
right? And he
"Yeah, it's
shows
like
up.
Doc. We need to have a conversation." or
Yeah.
There's
something
also
like that.
in the trailer you see Craven in full Craven gear with a
Oh,
torch.
that-
That's not.
I gotta
movie.
say too, the whole time I'm watching, I'm just like, why would you not just give him the outfit? Like why? And then at the last scene of the
You get
movie,
a comic book
when he
recreation.
becomes, I'm
Yeah.
like,
This is-
they're so dumb.
Again, I think Aaron Taylor Johnson is built for this.
he's a good
He's
actor.
not.
There's
he-
nothing wrong.
Like his action sequences were solid.
yeah.
I did like the
way he
the
moved?
slide thing. I thought was kind of cool.
the way he climbed and moved because
They clearly thought it was cool because they showed it
A
to you like
lot.
400 times.
I thought the first time I saw, it, I was like, all right, that was
yeah.
kind of cool.
But
by
the
the
way he-
80th time,
like, all right.
I'm like, I get it.
You
the
got a
way he
signature
moves like
move,
an
I get it.
animal, the way that he
Yeah.
jumps around and everything, I thought that part was fine. But also the fact where it's like they literally almost went like one step away from he was bitten by a radioactive
I
lion
thought
for
the
his
same
origin
thing.
story.
What are his? Can he talk to animals?
No.
Well,
In
even,
the-
in this movie, before
That-
he even gets the thing,
Yeah.
remember, he's just a kid, and the lion is looking at him, and he's like, like he had a
Right.
telepathic
In the
type-
comics, he is literally just,
just
a
a
hunter.
guy.
He's just a guy.
But I'm literally talking in this movie.
Yeah.
Can he talk to animals?
He goes to those animals before any powers.
Yeah.
Before anything ever happened, and that lion, the biggest, baddest lion, looked at him and then had like that moment
you
of
know,
like, oh,
the scene I was laughing to myself. The scene where he
Only
comes
one.
but more than one. But this was like, it was like they ripped off Happy Gilmore, where Craven's dad, who is Russell Crowe.
Was he even in the trailer?
I don't.
yeah.
Oh, was he?
I
I
saw a picture
told-
of him in the limo or something.
I
or, yeah,
totally
he was-
missed it because I was like, Russell Crowe is in this? And then I spent like the first 5 minutes being like, is this Russell Crowe?
Yeah, no,
Like-
he was in the. He was.
It's like the Jekyll. It's like
advertised,
the
yeah.
Dr. Jekyll thing.
Yeah.
From the Mummy.
But his dad was more of a Craven, I felt
Yeah!
like, than
Oh,
he
yeah.
was.
Yeah,
Like
but
the
like you know the
character.
scene in Happy Gilmore where Happy Gilmore's like, "Hey, you know that alligator that took your hand?" He's like, "Well, I got his head," and then like
Yeah.
kills. Yeah. And then like it's the same scene where he's like, "Hey, you know that lion that chewed?"
Mista.
Yeah, you know that Mista. I think I just killed the Mista.
They just killed the Mr. Mista lady.
This is the same scene where like Craven is mauled by this tiger. He gets Calypso gives him this weird potion.
Who, Calypso?
Calypso.
Calypso.
Gives him this potion. He gets healed, goes home, and his dad's like, "Hey, you know that lion that ate your face? I got his head." And it's like on the wall. And I was like, nobody else is putting this. Like, this is Happy
And then
Gilmore.
Craven's like bummed about it.
Yeah, he's
But
like,
he's
"Oh
like-
man,
His whole thing's like he's like a hunter, right?
yes."
So I would think he'd be like, "That's
Oh,
cool."
I forgot he's a hunter.
So I thought
crap.
when the dad's like, "Why didn't you shoot him?" Throughout the movie, Craven never uses a gun. He never
Right.
uses
That's his thing.
Which is
he
okay.
He uses only animal
I gotta tell you,
hunting techniques.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah,
I'm
no, it's
fine with
great.
that. So I thought he would say, "Yeah, you shot him with
Sure,
a gun,
sure.
you pussy." Like
Yeah.
I was gonna stab him. I was gonna gut him or whatever. But they never do that. They never establish that.
And it's because the lion blood got in him that made the
Yes,
They
so
make
with
a
the
point.
with the
special juice.
combined with the
magic.
the,
Yeah.
the voodoo magic.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What if like a mosquito had bitten him earlier that day?
Isn't there
Or perhaps a spider.
and he got and he got cut by just like some
what? Isn't there a movie? Isn't there like a spoof movie?
yeah
that
where something
is-
else gets in with like the
where-
fly thing
Well,
and then
superhero
that's-
movie.
Is
The
that
Dragonfly?
Yes, the
Yeah.
Dragonfly. Yes. That's yeah.
Well,
That's
I
got
know he can zoom in
Leslie
on
Nielsen and
cigarettes.
oh my
and
god
license plates.
I love how he has that one
But
ability.
Why? They zoom in on the license plate and he
because
doesn't
he's
like look it up
He's
or
the world's
anything.
greatest detective, Matt. Craven, the
So
world's
that-
greatest
So
detective.
that's our way of them showing us like he's taking in clues that he might not even need.
Yeah.
That's like how
yeah, right.
focused in he is.
I love that when like it zooms in on Chekhov's cigarette, you know, and I'm waiting. I message the guys and I'm like, oh, Craven hates cigarettes.
But it's-
Ryan was there. I was kind of doing MST 3K
Sure.
things. We were the only ones in the
It
theater,
was-
and I'm like, man, I was like, he was chasing him, and I'm like, he's yelling, put out your cigarettes, like you know, just. But and I messaged you guys. I'm like, oh man, he hates
Well,
cigarettes.
it'd be one thing if he like zoomed in on the package of cigarettes, where he's like, "Oh, okay, that," and then sees that package later.
But like, why are his
But-
scents? I know he has smell because animal, whatever. But like, he has like binocular zoom-in vision, and he can analyze that that's a Turkish cigarette based on the butt of the cigarette.
Calypso finds out that he's
Who?
Calypso
Oh,
finds out
Got it.
that
What's your favorite type of music?
gotta be Calypso. Gotta be. She finds it all out, and then his Turkish cigarette thing is basically like, that makes sense because he was smoking Turkish cigarettes.
yeah. And then they go to, and the next thing is like they're like turkey.
And
Like,
I was actually a little confused because he had Chinese food, so I thought maybe.
could you imagine if like he has smoked a Turkish cigarette, but he was like in any other country in the world?
yeah. Well,
they
I
go to
mean,
Turkey,
If
and
Die
they're-
Hard has taught me anything, is you can smoke those
It's just
wherever.
so dumb.
Well, and
here's-
I'll just say this now. A funny thing that happens. You see Craven with a K, and he's walking toward an airplane.
oh, I always have felt kind of Craven,
Oh man.
and I am a hunter.
also, but the name Craven is because his last name is Cravenoff.
It's
Yeah.
like if I
That's
said,
that's why he's called Craven.
if you guys were like, so Matthew, and I'm like, I go by Matt now, and you were all like, what? Where does that come from?
Matthew with an M.
Huh? With an M.
Yeah.
So he's walking toward an airplane that's like running, and Calypso calls him and says he's in Turkey, and he goes, okay. What if she called and said he's like 3 blocks from you? He's gonna get on the plane and go, hey, I don't need
Just
you
drop
today.
me off over here.
Or what if she called him 30 minutes later?
Right.
There's just circle until Calypso
I know
calls.
this movie's so dumb, and here's the thing too, because I'm like,
Circle until Calypso.
at first when I started watching this movie, I'm like, okay, I think I get it. This is a $150 million B movie, but it takes itself way too seriously.
I
so
agree with
if you're
you.
gonna, I was like, please let me
There's
just have
all
fun
these
with this.
There's all
movie.
these weird one-liners that I don't think the actors realize are one-liners.
Sure.
Okay.
And then it's so weird
There
to watch.
is-
And what's the guy's name?
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
There we go. Like I've never seen somebody simultaneously overact and underact.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And he like does this growl thing when
Yeah.
he's trying to sound tough.
It's
Also the accent, like why?
that wasn't him. I think if I'm right, the Russian stuff.
Yeah.
That's not him. That's all ADR.
But, like,
I
why-
don't know though because the ADR is really bad,
And that
and
actually
his stuff
didn't seem-
wasn't
okay.
as bad.
He's a
Okay.
he's a good actor, and I think
I
that
like him.
This script is bad.
Bullet
Obviously,
Train
Yeah.
is great.
he is good though.
he's
in, like,
good as
everything he
Quicksilver.
does. Yeah. So he's Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
He's Quicksilver. and now
Actually,
he's Craven.
both guys in Kick-Ass have been Quicksilver.
I know. Isn't
Yeah.
that funny? That from St. Louis.
That's right.
So, but here's the thing: like, Kravenoff, he's Sergey
Sergey.
Kravenoff.
Sergey.
Sergey. Sorry.
Sergey.
Sergey. Now I want to talk like Kermit the Frog. I am
Kermit. That's not Kermit.
I
That's
know,
his-
but
that's
I know it is. But
Constantine.
he says I am Kermit the Frog.
That movie.
Oh, that movie's amazing.
I
don't
that.
know why that wasn't a bigger hit.
I love that character.
It grew on me because at first I'm like, man, the first one was just so good.
Yeah.
And then I watched the second and I'm like, ah.
That
And then I kept
second one
watching
is-
it, and every time I watched it, gets better. Somehow
yeah.
it just keeps getting
The
better.
Muppets Most Wanted is a total shift from the first
Which
time.
I think threw me off guard
yeah,
because
but
the first
like
yeah.
it's great.
It is great.
So anyway, this is a Russian character, but I guess they're like his dad sent them to school in America, so now they have no Russian accents.
Is Aaron Taylor Johnson American?
British, I believe.
Okay.
But
okay.
I mean, they grew up in Russia. They didn't grow up in America. They were going to school, prep school or something in America. So now the kids just have English accents?
Potentially grew up in Siberia. Where's the jungle that they hang out?
Oh, it is like the one that hit the mom's property.
He keeps saying it's all I have of my mother, and it's
They-
acres and acres of land. Like
Well,
usually, it's
my
a
favorite
little,
part is late in the movie. He's like, "This used to be my mother's. It's all I have of her." And I'm like, "No, you don't. It's not her. It's
No longer. It's
It's
yours.
no longer yours. It's been sold. Like you just said, she used to own this property.
Right.
Like,
Right.
They missed a really large
You're just squatting.
They missed a really large tie-in opportunity with jungles. There was another movie where there was a mother in a jungle. He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching
Well,
spiders
Oh,
just before she died.
So I thought they were gonna find a way. So when this other villain, I don't know who this guy
Foreigner?
is.
foreigner. Well, I don't know his powers.
I
either, so.
tried to look. I don't think that's a
Oh,
Spider-Man character.
Mr. Hide and Seek.
I mean, that's not. Yeah.
One, two,
when
By the way,
three.
I love this actor is great.
When I first
Not in
saw
this.
when
Who
I
is
first
that
saw
actor?
him,
He
I
looked familiar.
No, when I first saw him,
Oh.
I was like, "Oh, it's Ezekiel." Like that's who I
I
thought.
thought
I did think that for a
I-
second.
yeah, and I was like, I can't believe they're doing it. Like, good
But
for
this-
them that
this
they're
guy's
trying.
in-
Oh,
Is it
Alice,
Possessor?
Alessandro Nivola?
No,
Who are we talking about?
The guy who was like
The
the
foreigner.
speedster, who would be like, who?
I think he like.
oh, I thought he was.
hypnotizes
I thought he was a
somebody or
speed guy.
Oh, that guy.
No, he's
Yeah.
The guy who
hypnotizing
looked so. For me, especially when he shows up with the trench coat and the glasses,
Yeah.
I was like, "This looks like when Ted Mosby thought he was
Oh my.
Mr. X on his college DJ radio station."
Christopher Abbott.
Yeah, he's good. He's in good stuff.
He's
Oh,
been in.
You're absolutely right, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Swimming Home, Bring Them Down. It doesn't matter. That's the movie title. It does matter if it matters to you. He's going to be Blake in The Wolfman. He was in Poor.
He's the
Poor
dad.
Things.
Oh, he's the dad
yes,
in Wolfman?
He's the dad in the Wolfman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Poor Things, which is I liked it. I know Tom didn't. Sanctuary,
What
The
is Poor
Forgiven,
Things? I don't even remember
Isn't
it.
that
the weird Emily.
Oh,
Emma Stone. She
Emma
does the
Stone,
Emily.
yeah,
Yorgos. Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it all,
That was a
man.
weird movie.
oh
man.
yeah, that movie. Was
The
stupid.
Forgiven, The Count of Three, The World to Come, Possessor. Is that what you were?
Possessor's awesome.
Okay.
Sanctuary is good.
First, he was in First Man. I don't remember him in that. But anyway, I don't know. I'm
The,
not.
the
Second
other
Man.
gal is
Okay.
like, didn't she win an Academy Award or something?
Oh yeah, she's Rita, right in West Side Story. She's Broadway.
Oh,
Yeah, what's
She-
that?
That's
Wait.
Calypso.
yeah,
Ariana DeBose.
yeah.
That
Where
was
it's just
Ariana DeBose and it's Calypso.
Oh,
She
But
won
it-
an
wait,
Oscar for West Side Story.
And that's I bring up that he's good in things
Anita,
just to
sorry,
say that
not
it's like
Rita.
yeah. I was like, she's not.
it's none of the
no, but
actors'
didn't Rita
fault.
Moreno play Anita in the original?
No,
West Side
Rita
Story?
Moreno played the other character, right?
No, because she was in the original.
in the original West Side
so
Story.
I called her
oh.
Rita, but the character is
I'm with
Anita.
you. I'm with you. Sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
Huh?
You were saying.
Stream
Oh
of
no,
consciousness.
just that. I mean, he's awful in this, or he appears to be
But
awful.
they all are,
and,
right?
And it's
And,
like, right. I think
oh,
it's not their fault.
funniest moment in the entire movie was when they recreated the Russell Crowe gladiator hands.
I
and
could not believe that
I
happened.
thought that was, and that is one of the parts where I'm like, oh, we're at a B movie. Like
Yeah.
this is supposed to be funny, right?
the-
But
Because
the funniest moment is whatever noise that is the Rhino
I
made.
love that.
What was that?
when he was mad, that screaming, that was when I said best scream in a movie, right? Sir, he escaped our clutches. And he's like, it was
I
so
think
weird.
that guy might be the only one
that knows.
who
he's,
knew.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
That's
if
Alessandro
everybody
Nivola.
was just being bonkers in this.
Yeah, he was going for it.
Yo,
Right.
he was going for it.
Right. I would love to see how many different screams did he do. You know,
Yeah.
like what kind of wild stuff was he pulling off?
I don't even know. Because
he plays the sensei in The Art of Self-Defense with Jesse Eisenberg. Have you seen that?
I haven't.
That's
but
a
I
great
definitely
movie.
Is it really?
wanna
And he
see
plays
it.
the
And
sensei in
yeah.
that, so this makes sense. He has a good comedic sensibility.
Okay.
And he wants a partner. I know that. He'll ask
Oh my
anybody.
gosh.
I did
I
like
want
the,
you to be my partner.
Yeah, but I'm
no.
gonna kill you
What
all.
about you?
It's because no one takes him seriously. Mr. Kravenoff told him
yeah.
that, man,
Stop
why don't you
fo-
just- when
stop- stop
characters,
following me.
That reminds me of, didn't Guy Ritchie get burned in Iron Man?
Guy
3?
Ritchie?
Didn't Guy Pearce get burned at the beginning of Iron Man 3? And that's why it set him off.
It's
on
set
his-
in 1999, and he
Man.
and Tony Stark's like, yeah, okay, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And then he comes back as the guy that with Nemesis.
People
in
need
his-
to just like chill a little bit, you know? Like, hey, could you imagine if someone's
No,
like
thank you.
says something rude, like you're nobody, and you're just kind
Well,
of
that's
like
how
whatever.
that's how Jamie Foxx's Electro gets created. They're
Right.
like, no, everybody thought I was a loser, and Peter Parker's like, no, I thought you were pretty cool, and he's like, really? You did?
The moral of the
I'll
story
be a
is
good
like,
guy now.
Just like shake it off, man. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like, and also,
Oh, that's interesting. I thought you meant quit being so rude to people. But
Oh,
you think when you're rude to people, they shouldn't hold a grudge.
well, maybe you
Who's the
shouldn't.
real monster?
Hey, who's the real monster?
Obviously,
Not
in
me.
in a perfect world, this is not an ethical thing. I'm saying probably when someone says something rude to you, you should not build an entire villain character and try to destroy people because of it.
That seems like it's just a lot of work.
It seems like a lot of
To
work
not do that.
Too much
to
effort.
to have to deal,
Yeah.
contend with that.
Ugh.
But the line that I did think was funny is when these poachers show up and they kill all the caribou. I guess they were caribou.
Whatever with the horns.
They cut all the
yeah.
horns off, and Craven's like, "What? What are you doing?"
The first time or the second time?
It's the the first time. No,
When he's a kid, or
no,
when he's
when he's Craven, and those guys
Yeah.
show up on the private
Because
property.
they literally
Same
do
thing.
it twice.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Well, yeah, when the bad guys show up, kill all the caribou and take their horns, and he's like, "Why are you doing this?" And I gotta tell you,
I remember when they did this when I was little.
some of these action sequences are pretty good. The scene of Craven on the car chase,
the
looked-
car core scene
that looked practical. Like that looked like him
was
on
pretty,
the car.
was pretty good.
Yeah,
Okay.
the action in this is better than the other.
Yeah.
easily. And I appreciate that they went for the R, right? Like
But I
it's
do think that kind of wasted it. I know in those action scenes a little bit there was some of that, but this is the problem. I think they should have went more B movie with it, and the kills just should have been nonstop insane.
when that guy gets
because
split in
that's
two,
what I'm
I
saying.
was like,
in one scene, I mean, I know there's some other violence with some fake blood or whatever, but
You
that
got
one
two
scene.
F-bombs.
you get
Yeah.
two
Like,
F-bombs.
back
So like
to
if it's
back.
a rated
It
R,
was so weird.
and it's a rated R movie. You
But
don't
then
have
he
to use
says-
them
he goes,
sparingly.
Gosh, you're heavy.
Yeah,
Like why?
like
But maybe you would. Maybe that's Craven. He's not a cusser. It seems like he'd not.
he's
say
a hunter.
Gosh.
You can't be a hunter.
Yeah, you
and
can't be a hunter
cusser.
and a cusser.
But that one scene was the only scene where they really
The
went bananas
the
with the
scene in
rated
the, in,
R.
the, in the jungle,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so
Because
it's like,
everything else,
why-
right, looks almost PG-13, but they add
the blood.
some blood spraying
Yeah, it's
out.
almost like they were like trying to do a PG-13, and then they said screw it, and then they're like, well, we only really have this one scene that could go crazy. I don't
Was
know.
there like a post?
no,
No.
there's
I-
nothing.
No.
Oh,
I'm saying,
sorry.
did they like see Deadpool do well and then go, well, let's make it rated R?
I don't
mean,
know.
I think there were definitely lots of like making different movies.
Yeah.
There is a part where Craven's like, I forget what he's talking about. It's real weird. Toward the end of the movie,
You have to narrow it down.
well,
a bit.
he starts going like, I have to be the most powerful guy. I gotta do.
He starts that like there is. I think you're right because I feel like everybody is obsessed with the Darth Vader story, right? They have to start as good guys, and then there has to be like a progression of them turning to the dark side,
Right.
and that's how you'll feel sympathy for him, but still think he's a bad guy.
Was it about the juice, the magic juice?
He had been trying to
But
recreate it.
why?
I don't know.
He never said. He's like, I have to know what's in it, but like, to what make super soldiers?
But
What are
also,
you talking
apparently,
about?
he's a really good hunter and tracked down Calypso. And it's like, well, maybe you should have just done that with your skills, like sooner.
Or-
because
But he
from-
did. That's so. What's crazy to me about that is he approaches her at a funeral for her friend.
yeah, that's a
Yes.
great time.
But then he
to-
tells her all this stuff he knows. So he's known.
Right.
He's like, I know what you do for work. I know you're really good at your job. So he's known.
well, the
where
opening
she
of the
is.
movie is him killing the guy that was responsible
Yeah,
for her
maybe he
best
wanted to
friend's
do that
death.
first.
Right.
And then, oh man, when he goes, he's like, "Hey, have you seen? Can your grandma get more of that stuff?" And she says, She died not long after that, and I never saw her again.
I never saw her again.
But
That's
I mean,
fair. That's
pretty
fair.
good.
Yeah.
if he knows who she, it's a simple at this point. Like you don't have to be a very good hunter in 2024. You just type her name into Google,
What's her name?
Calypso.
Oh.
And I thought that
What's her last name?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, no. The
Something
No,
not
it's
so smug
Something,
now.
something
name-
tell me there's not a high-powered lawyers in London named
Five
Calypso.
No, she's listed under Calypso. Period. That's
Oh, she's Irish. It's like Calypso.
And also,
Calypso.
now look, I know that someone being in prison, what is justice? There's a bigger question about that. But in a movie, because she's going, they'll never hold him responsible for this. But in a movie, he's already in prison.
Yeah,
Isn't that
he's
supposed
been,
to be
Which is
He's
what
been
like-
held
I
responsible.
mean, maybe it's not for that crime or something, and obviously he can still pull strings. But it just seems a little weird that, like,
he's in a Siberian prison.
yeah, it seems pretty bad.
Yes, it is pretty bad.
Why not make that just make him? I mean, I guess because you have the cool thing in the beginning, which again, man, this movie also has no plot for. And people throw that around all the time, and it's not true. This Craven is not doing anything.
No,
I mean, he's got his list, but that's not the plot of the
That's it.
movie. The plot
That's what I'm
is
saying.
he has to get his brother back. Like that would be
Yeah.
like what you'd say it's about,
like
right?
45
I
minutes
guess.
into the movie, and this movie was so boring to me, and I'm just like, what is this movie about? And I didn't see the trailers, like a full trailer. I did see Russell Crowe. Maybe it was a still image or something, but
The
like,
trailer would tell you nothing because the trailer is one of those trailers that I've been complaining about.
Yep.
Excuse me, where they take
Like
one
in Bloom.
one line of a song
it just
yeah.
has music
and use it over and over
Okay.
again because this was the trailer where they kept going when the man
Okay.
comes to town. I'm just like, oh my
But like,
God.
I didn't know who the
Hated it
villain
so
of the
much.
movie was or anything. So then when I saw this flashback, and I thought, oh, this whole movie's just a flashback. And then I'm like, but who's the villain? Like, I'm like, I don't understand who the antagonist of
Yeah.
the movie is.
Bad guys.
Craven is trying to. He's mad about his dad's a hunter, and now he's run away. And the brother, he comes back for his brother's birthday. But I'm like, what is this movie about? And then you get
You know his
Ri-
brothers from Gladiator 2, right?
Oh, that's
yeah.
one
His
of the
brothers,
yeah.
the weirdo.
Creep.
The weirdo.
Yeah, it's like I guess all he does.
Well, at one point
He's got a very punchable face.
he's sitting. He's playing piano. Or no, he's sitting next to.
He does great impersonations. though.
When he calls
almost
him
a
on the
chameleon,
phone,
you'd say.
I thought it was ridiculous when he calls him on the phone and it's clearly Russell Crowe's voice.
Right.
And then he's like, I got you. That was just that was me the whole time. And
He's
I'm
like,
like,
oh, you're
He-
pretty
you have
good
to
at it.
understand he's something of a chameleon.
Yes.
oh, well, when that line, it all came together at the end of the movie, could you imagine? My jaw almost hit the floor.
When he said,
I go,
I
oh,
didn't.
that's how he did the impression.
There was when they introduced the brother. I think in comic books, I think they may not be.
I didn't realize
brothers.
that the chameleon.
but they've definitely have like they've been tied together.
Sure.
In like whatever.
Because I was like, I don't remember that.
I don't.
He's the half brother of Craven.
Yeah,
And,
okay.
Well, so in the movie,
He is
they
the
say you're a
half-brother.
bastard.
He's
Yeah,
the
'cause
half brother.
So that makes more sense.
Yeah.
then, okay.
And I'm like, why are you mad at this? Like Russell
What did
Crowe's
he-
character, like you cheated on your wife and got somebody pregnant,
Right.
and you're mad at this kid
because he's not.
Because he's not a full.
But he sucks.
Craven.
I mean, he's supposed to suck.
Okay,
and that sucks.
But he doesn't suck.
He has
No,
exactly.
I mean, Daddy Craven.
Oh, okay.
But he has as much of your blood as
Right.
he would have had,
Right.
regardless.
Yeah, it's not
Blame-
like the
blame the
woman.
mom.
Yeah,
Right,
but I
right.
guess like Mr. Craven Sr. and Craven's mom like have kids that turn out like
They had one kid.
right, but like I guess maybe that bloodline creates obviously like this Craven who's very in tune with whatever. I know it's genetics. I'm not saying you can plan it or whatever, but like in this kid he got a weakling that didn't share the
Well, then he
combined-
shouldn't have.
Well, right. No, well, he is a bad.
Quit
but-
fucking weak chicks.
But this movie, right? He's a bad guy.
Has Andrew
This
Tate
is the
taught you
podcast
nothing?
I want to be on.
But this movie does the thing that we were complaining about, at least for this character. He's a bad guy, and you're not supposed to like him, almost like what villains are supposed to be. He's the villain. Like, but Craven's also a bad guy. And so when you have a whole movie trying to sympathize with this conservationalist, and then he loses his brother, and I guess that's the thing. Craven is a good guy who doesn't hurt animals, only takes down bad guys. He's basically 007. Aaron Taylor Johnson was like
He was in the
talks
running.
for 007.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
he's doing his 007 thing. And at the end of the movie, his brother's like, I don't really like you. And he's like, I'm going to kill everybody and kill
that
Spike.
is
Like
true.
he's a bad guy now?
Well, like he says, yes. The end of the movie, basically, we find out that
we haven't even talked about
don't
the
even
plot.
does it because there is none. There is no plot. We have talked
They
about
kidnap his brother.
they kidnap his brother and he wants to get his brother back, and he ends up fighting the
But
Rhino.
I do. Well, I have some questions
Okay.
about the plot.
So like the end of the movie is, I do like this that Aaron Taylor Johnson finds his dad at like this base camp, and he sicks a bear on him.
Yeah.
And I do like that he just kind of walks away. He's like, fuck
His
you.
dad's hunting, as the Kravenovs tend to do.
I don't know that he is hunting.
Well, it skips a generation.
I don't think
Okay.
that. I think he's hiding from Craven.
No, he's at a camp. He's got guns
you
all
can do
up.
both.
You can do.
both.
It's not.
I guess
either
that's true.
or.
That's
yeah,
true.
he's at like a hunting campsite.
because
I'll go
he
to
does-
L.A. on a work trip, but I'll still check out the Comedy Store.
Seems fair.
You know?
Seems fair.
But I like
I did
this
do
the
that,
way,
and
the way
and I went to Laser Blazer and saw like Kevin Smith's like video store that I don't think is there anymore.
No.
It was cool. It was really cool.
But you know, and so Craven goes to talk to him, and now the dad's like, see this, you know, you are.
We're
I
one in the same.
He set this whole thing up. Basically, he was like, the Rhino was coming for me, and I know that I couldn't take out the Rhino, but you could, so I sent him after you. It was all a plan, and I knew you could take him out, and now you see you've proven yourself. Let's work together. Let's do this whole thing. And then Craven is basically like, yeah, no. And he
Sick 'em.
walks away, and then a bear's coming at him, and the dad looks in his gun. He's taking all the bullets out, and then Craven walks away, drops the bullets on the ground. I mean, that's kind of a cool, fitting, like,
It's not bad.
gotcha ending,
Yeah.
you know, right? Like, that's fine.
And then so he goes to see his brother on his birthday, and now the brother has taken
It's a year
over.
later.
It's a year later.
He only sees him on his.
Yeah.
Only sees him on his birthday.
Even
like
after
a good
the
brother.
whole, even after this whole
Right.
thing went down and the dad's not around.
We should say that the Rhino character says that like I had this condition. I saw all these different doctors. I saw a doctor in New York, and I was like,
why was that guy even there then? Why was he even hunting with them in that party?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea.
Can you tell me why?
Nope.
Like, why? Who was that guy?
He's
Why
just
was he
looking
there
for
with
a
his
partner.
condition?
I'm just looking for a partner.
and then we have to say though,
Well,
in that flash,
Kravenoffs, they're wealthy because they don't waste money, so they didn't do an exclusive safari.
Oh,
They did
they
like
went a
it's
group.
like a group safari.
Yeah, right.
Like you can do the
yeah.
private VIP one.
That's way too expensive.
But that's like
hilarious.
$300 a person.
Right.
If you do the group
they
one,
did the
it's like
group.
$107.
It's the Keys to the
Correct.
Kingdom
Correct.
tour.
Yes,
Yes,
it's
it's exactly.
Get a big group together, and it's a lot cheaper divided by 12.
So he
but anyway,
says that-
but
but-
Kravenov is mean to this guy because this guy's like, I'm out of breath, whatever. And then Mr. Kravenov is like, it's okay, but you're nothing. Why would you even think you're anything?
Get out
And
of
this-
my bubble.
Yeah, and this guy is like, and then-
And now I'm mad.
yeah.
But
So
then
we-
apparently he can't defeat the Rhino, which is that guy. Like
Well,
later
he's
scared
not
of
the Rhino yet.
Yeah, he
him.
was
Is
just.
that why he's scared of him? Because he has Rhino skin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Well, he did stop a bus or something and picked it up, right? He crashed into
Yeah,
a
but
truck. or
after he was a Rhino.
Just shoot him when he.
Isn't
That is true. Just
Oh,
shoot him when he's. It's
just-
like
just
it's like
shoot him in his-
vampires. It's
Right.
like just go get him in the daytime.
Right.
just shoot him in his medicine port.
Yeah.
What a weird.
Well, yeah.
That was kind of fun.
But-
where he just like stabbed him.
yeah, but why? Okay.
Because
he's-
he was able to get through
no,
the skin.
but the medicine port stops his transformation, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
The medicine stops it. He
Yeah.
is the
Right.
Rhino. He's done so many experiments that now he is a Rhino man,
Right.
and he has to send himself back to normal. So you get stabbed in your medicine port where you become not a Rhino.
no,
but,
no,
like,
no, no.
Why are you?
He stabbed him there to get through the skin.
That's
I
like
think it's
his
just
Achilles.
open.
That's
oh,
like
it's
his
the only way to get to
Achilles
his
Yeah, it's the only
actual
way to get
organs.
into
Yeah,
him.
okay.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm
sorry,
just like-
Kevin. This is the one part that made sense.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, this was good.
I'm just like, why did that take him? Man, he's still a super strong Rhino.
He is,
like,
but that was the
but the
only. That was
skin-
the
It's like
only
small.
spot.
It's like Smog's.
The
Little,
brother's
Oh,
going to shoot
yeah.
him, which I think, honestly, they just should have let him.
right.
Because he's got Rhino skin.
right.
It wouldn't have
Wouldn't-
killed
No,
him.
no. It would have killed him because his face was starting to like
yeah, but
turn.
Why did his face turn back? If
I don't
he's
know.
Full, if he's full Rhino,
right.
just
so,
because he died, there was no medicine involved. Why did he transform
So
back?
why
have no
have
idea.
A moment there where Craven's like, "No, you're better than him. Let him suffer and die slow." They could have just
Let him
let
pop off a few.
right
Rhino.
and just have it.
oh, I
Because
see
then
what you're
you're
saying.
showing that the brother is turning.
He
Bad,
he
right?
is capable of pulling
When
the trigger.
when the brother pulls the gun out, I thought the entire
Yes.
thing.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the brother did
Could
it.
you imagine?
Absolutely.
Now that reveal
Because- well,
would have been,
because not
I
only-
kidnapped myself, I hired
He
the
was
Rhino.
also-
it wouldn't have made any sense because we saw them being mean
Right.
to him when there's
But
no
they
one
also-
around to
they
see
also
him.
but if
paid
he
him a
set it
big-ass
up and
steak.
he paid them without them knowing he paid
Oh, I
them.
see, like
He
they-
could have
Well,
pulled, and he was
he
evil
even-
because he was evil. Why not let that be
And
the
he even
reveal?
says, the Rhino even says, Craven's like, who set you up? Who did this? And he's like, the answer has been under your nose the
Right.
entire
Right,
time.
but it's the dad.
And then he turns, and the
but it
brother
could've
has the
been-
gun. And I was like,
Well,
oh,
I know.
okay.
Is there
A version.
some scenes that they
Oh.
swapped out or something?
Maybe.
I don't know.
But like
Maybe.
that makes it so much better. Not that the movie would be perfect then, but like if you're like, oh crap, the brother was evil the whole time, pretending to be timid and whatever, and he's the chameleon, pretending to be different characters to orchestrate everything. Like that's interesting. And if you're gonna say 1 year later and then he's a bad guy, why not make that the reveal and have
Right.
everyone be like,
Be the
oh,
bad guy the
I
whole time.
did not see that coming.
Walk me through this. Help me out here.
Oh,
so,
we'll try.
Craven off, Russell Crowe.
Senior, yes.
He
Yeah,
pays,
there's 3 Craven.
three
offs
Craven
in this
offs.
movie.
Russell
You're gonna need an
Crowe-
arrow.
I call him Papa Craven.
leaks
pop off.
Pop
the,
off Craven.
the prison video to the Rhino.
Yes.
Okay. And he had someone in After Effects put cool little
Yes.
graphics that you know, wait for the end. That's the part.
Facial recognition. Yes.
So
It's also weird camera placement for security.
Like in a-
purposes
in a duct.
prison. Yeah.
oh yeah, the security guys arguing about it, and he's like, "Well, if somebody climbed up here, this would be the perfect. How would they do
You're
that?
gonna thank me for this
Yeah,
one day.
right.
Well, what if Spider-Man? Who?
Yeah.
What?
The underside of the tower.
We can't say that.
So, okay, so Rhino now knows who Craven is.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is interesting that, like, the big bad guy isn't, we don't know that it's, like, the next guy on Craven's list. It's just a guy on there. Or he
Yes.
doesn't even know if he's on there,
doesn't.
right?
I don't
He's-
know.
No, well,
He
he
just
does say
thinks-
I guess that's true. He thinks he's on the list.
Which is a very funny motivation for a whole movie. That like
Right.
it's not like Craven has any personal reason to go after a Rhino. He's just on his list of.
It was too
crooks.
dark. I couldn't. He had names on his arm or something. Or
Oh, he did?
Or didn't
Oh,
he have
oh,
names?
never mind.
I don't
he
remember
was
that.
he was marking off the terrorists that he had killed. Is that what we're saying?
But he had a list. But like at this point in the movie, it was so dark. I actually could not read any of the names. So I don't know if that
Well,
was
he
a plot
marks
point.
a guy off of a list, but that's
That.
just a ledger.
Yeah.
Okay,
It-
but
that's
then
not
he had
his
a
list.
he had a list of names though that I think was not just the guy in the ledger.
I don't know.
Which that
So,
scene.
I thought you were making a Die Hard joke for a second, and then I realized you weren't making.
Well,
a Die Hard joke.
and right, he's gonna get this very good attorney to help him track down. There's no way she would do that.
No.
But okay, so Rhino now knows he's Craven, so they go to kidnap Craven. They just go to kill Craven, right?
Right.
But he's not there, so they take the brother, and then Rhino hires the foreigner to get.
I don't know that he does hire the
No, the foreigner shows up
the
and the guy's
foreigner-
like, "Who the hell is
The
this?"
foreigner is the brother of the guy that Craven killed in jail.
Right, but
So that's why he's after Craven.
But then the lawyer goes to that Calypso goes to that guy to get the information of where they took the brother,
yes.
and he gives her the information. Then he goes up the stairs, and that's the foreigner. And he's like, "Did they buy it?" And he's like, "Yeah." So that had to come from
Oh.
the Rhino,
Yeah.
but it is where they have the brother. Like there was no reason. They want Craven to come to where the brother is. So they gave that information to, I guess, an informant that Calypso knows,
That was working
But it-
with the foreigner.
the foreigner,
To
who
get
is,
him-
I assume, is a super assassin. I don't know why you would hire that guy. Just
Yeah.
give the.
Again, it is wild to think that they've just we're I don't know what 6 movies into this non-Spider-Man Spider-Man verse,
Yeah.
and they are introducing new characters.
Well-
like a character that's not. I don't think this character is a comic book.
Right.
I've never.
Which one?
The foreigner.
He is. Yeah.
He is?
Yeah.
Does he? Is he from Spider-Man?
I'll look it up. Keep going.
So Craven then goes to where they actually are with the brother.
The Foreigner is a fictional supervillain appearing in American comic books published by Marvel. He was formerly married to Silver Sable.
Well, that's a Spider-Man
The
character.
Foreigner is a
Okay.
mercenary and assassin. Although he has no superhuman abilities, he has trained his body to be in absolute peak physical condition, is among the greatest martial arts practitioners in the Marvel Universe, and as a professional assassin who has even evaded detection by various international law
I
enforcement
guarantee
agencies,
you.
is
I
intelligent.
guarantee you.
Mhm.
There was a Silver Sable movie
Oh,
that
sure.
was somewhere in the ether. This was going to be their way to tie. It has to be.
He's a
They-
Spider-Man
he's
villain.
a Spider-Man villain,
and he, could
and he
not
was
defeat Spider-Man because
and he was married to Silver Sable
Because he's Spider-Man.
because he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, then So then he goes to Turkey and beats them all up. But then he calls Calypso and he's like, "It was a setup." But it was
a setup to kill him.
But like, of course, I don't know. He says it like, "Oh my gosh, we got tricked." But they had his brother there. His brother was there.
Right.
He did go to get him back.
No, his brother wasn't there. His brother was not in that monastery thing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
His brother was not there because that's where he realizes it's set up and he gets like, he gets like the one henchman. He's like, "Where's my brother?" And he's like,
Yes.
"They would kill me if I
Okay,
told you."
I thought because that henchman is the guy that kidnapped him.
Yes.
I assumed they all went to the same.
No.
place.
They that's the one where like the missile comes through and he blows up, and then Craven is like, the two henchmen are there and they're looking through all the rubble, and he's like, wait, let me get this on camera.
All
and
right,
Craven's
so that's what messed me up. That they had that same guy.
it is the same
there.
guy, but he was
I
not.
thought their whole lab and everything was.
No.
in that
Those are in two
monastery.
different spots.
Okay. Well, it still doesn't really make sense to me. But also, then later, the foreigner has a special gun
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
because Craven can't be killed with bullets. I
Correct.
learned, but I know he can get scratched by a leopard.
And then not have the scars later.
Right.
Yes.
Ma-
You remember? So he gets attacked by the leopard.
Yeah.
And then he's got this.
yeah, on
big,
his arm, yeah.
The next scene.
Yeah.
It's
They're gone.
It's gone.
Yeah. I can't quite get in this universe how strong and like impermeable to damage Craven is because of that fact where it's like, I mean,
Here's the
can
thing.
get hurt, it seems.
They have made all of these characters impossible for Spider-Man to beat.
Yeah.
Right? Like Craven is just a guy. So when Spider-Man punches him in the mouth, he's gonna get knocked. The Rhino does have like a face, right? Like the Rhino suit isn't all over, right? He's got a face. So
He doesn't-
Spider-Man has a way to beat this guy.
Through a
Venom-
manhole
Through a
cover at him.
manhole. Oh, so good. But so like all of these villains, right? Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, Venom, they all have these weaknesses, and Spider-Man just has to be smart enough to figure it out. None of these villains have weaknesses anymore.
Yeah.
So there's
And
Spider-Man.
they're not. But on the upside,
They're not villains.
they're not villains.
That's
So
fair.
So he has
That's
no
fair.
reason to fight them.
But it's crazy because he shoots him with this. It's
Like
gonna
a
make him
tranquilizer
scare.
type
Like
thing.
it's like
Yeah.
scarecrow.
Yeah,
gas
right,
or
And,
whatever.
he's the most scared of what?
Spiders.
His biggest fear is spiders.
Yes.
Dun, dun,
And
dun.
he's using his like power, his like 1, 2, 3 power
Yeah.
to then shoot him with more of those, and then he falls on the ground. And then he pulls out a gun.
regular gun. Yeah.
But
a minute.
he shot him 3 times
With
already.
the special gun. No. And this is the best part. This is the kind of thing that belongs in a B movie or like a really bad old spy movie. Okay, so his henchmen, the Rhino's henchmen, walk up and they're like, "Is it done?" He's like, "Yup, it's done.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go find the Rhino and tell him or whatever." And they're like, "Okay," and they walk away far enough.
And then Calypso shoots
then
the foreigner in the
Calypso
face
kills
with,
him.
with an arrow.
But it's like the fact that he's like, "Yes, it's done," as he's holding
Yeah.
a gun at Craven. It's like, no, it's not. I wish that guy would have been like, "Let me see it."
Right.
Like, just do it. Are you sure?
There's a weird
Like-
line too where right before that they're all in the woods and they're like, "Where is he?" And the foreigner goes, "He's right here." And then it's a leopard. He says it. It was real weird. Like,
he does say it.
why
very-
would you think he's right there?
that I will say that forest scene, action set piece wise, is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The one guy gets I did when he clears the leaves out of the bear trap. I was like, man, if somebody doesn't get hit in the face with that bear trap,
I've never seen
I'll
a
be
bear,
pissed.
I don't think I've ever seen a bear trap kill like
When
that.
he
I'm
whips
like,
that
was
bear
pretty
trap and
creative.
it locks onto that guy's head, I was
Right.
like, that was cool.
I mean, that whole scene seems way more rated R than any of the
Oh,
other.
yeah.
That's what we're
action,
saying.
which
So
is
that's what we were
weird.
saying
Like,
earlier. Like, why wasn't the whole
he does
movie?
bite a guy's face off.
Just no.
Yeah.
That's in that though. I think.
Is it?
It's they're in the truck
They're in-
right after
Okay.
that.
Oh,
this is-
okay.
I think.
That frustrates me because that's from like earlier in the movie when they finally get out of the 45-minute flashback and the game hunters come for the
Is that those guys?
the antelope,
yeah.
whatever, like
Very
that he's-
similar scenes. in
Yeah.
the
Yes.
movie.
Yeah.
And then he's like, what are you doing? This is private property. And they're like, get out of my way. And they try to drive over him. He latches onto the truck. He gets in. He bites the guy's nose off. So the guy like that's leading the operation is in, I don't know, some Jeep or whatever. And he rolls off. And Craven like sees the license plate, right? Because he's the world's greatest detective, as
Right.
we know. But I'm like, you can't just put your foot on a gas pedal and drive
Also,
after
no,
that guy.
now,
Why
time
would
out,
you go
time out.
across the world,
He's an
travel to
animal.
his office?
I hear you.
Blah, blah, blah.
I agree with you 100%. We see him chase down a car on
Right.
foot.
Right.
So he could have just been like, I'm
Okay,
just gonna
or
run
do
after
that
it.
part, right?
It's so weird when he chases the car because he sees the car take off and he's like, well, I can't catch up with that. I need to take a shortcut. And then the shortcut is him 1 block over in parallel to that car, running as fast as the car
Yeah.
that he could have just chased
Yes.
in the first place.
Also, when there's
Correct.
people standing on the bridge in the walkway,
the
and he
fuck out of
goes
my way.
outside of the thing, because I'm thinking, oh, he's going to go up onto the roof or on the, because we've seen him. He can scale things or whatever. No, he goes out the window, walks on the ledge a little bit, and then goes back in to the crowded. I'm like, just
he
go
yells
on
at
the
them. He
roof.
says, "Get the fuck out of my way!" And then like runs on the outside
Right,
and then
but then he
runs
goes
back in.
I'm like, no, jump to another building.
It's like he
something.
took the emergency ramp and
Yeah.
just like tried to get around him.
Yeah, and I feel like it was 3 times as long as just like kind of going over them or just moving them.
Yeah,
Like, it was
right,
just
right,
so
right.
dumb the way he did that.
It was big time dumb.
It was stupid.
Yeah, so
Ugh.
he ends up he saves his brother, he kills his dad. Well, I guess the bear kills the dad.
And then 1 year later at the club, the
They're
kids,
sitting down and he's again that guy. The person that I was with leaned over and she goes, does he have a big head?" And I was like, that dude's head is massive. He has a giant head. Looks like a head that wore out 2 bodies. So he like, this is where he's like, I took, he gets 2 French guys come over and they're basically saying like, they do some little
We
deal.
got the drop, we
Yeah,
got whatever.
crime,
Yeah, it's
crime.
crime. See, crime.
And Craven's like, what are you
was
doing?
that?
He's like, well, Dad's business was open, so I decided to take it. And Craven's like, man, why? And now he's like, now I got to kill you. And he gives this whole spiel. And this is, I will say, it's kind of fun to see a comic accurate version of the chameleon with the white face. And I was like, okay, like that. This movie's trash.
Could be kind of fun if it were good.
It was a moment where I was
what
like,
about,
yeah, all right.
It reminded me of Little Wolverine in the Deadpool
Yes,
flashbacks.
yes.
So he like turns into Aaron Taylor Johnson, but he only transforms his face, not
Right.
his whole body.
Right.
So it's like a little tiny.
But that was the
Aaron
other thing
Taylor
is,
Johnson.
so they reference Miles Warren, who is the Jackal,
yeah.
who is responsible. If you've read comics, the entire Clone Saga is because of the Jackal. Ben Reilly, who was the fake the clone Spider-Man. What a wild time to read Spider-Man, where you're just like, do you remember that, Tom? Do you remember that reveal?
I don't.
So there's this other character that starts showing up, and he says his name is Ben Reilly, but we are told that the Peter Parker that we have followed from the 70s until like 90 whatever is not really Peter
Oh,
Parker.
the clone.
Yes,
Yeah,
and that Ben Reilly was the real Peter Parker, and he just lost his memory and was gone. So then this character that we have followed for 20 years, they're like, not him. And then he just leaves, and Ben Reilly takes over as the new Spider-Man, and then within like 3 or 4 months, they're like, never mind. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
This is dumb.
you're right.
that guy was crazy. He escaped from an insane asylum and hit his head, and
Yeah,
this is all
and
made
now
up.
we're back to being the real Peter Parker or whatever. And
So
Ben
they-
Reilly is still a character is in the comics
Right.
today that still
Yeah.
pops up.
He was in Spider-Verse, right?
Oh,
wasn't he one of the?
I don't think. Oh,
Didn't
I think
he
he
show-
was
I
when
thought
they
he
were
was.
showing you
Oh,
all the
it's
different.
Andy Sandberg.
Yeah, he's,
yeah,
that's
the
him.
Scarlet Spider.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I did want to touch on that real quick. I
Oh.
did think it's funny that as we wrap this up, is that like this movie's gonna die a horrible, maybe a quick death.
So
like it's gonna get eaten up next
this
week.
opened with $4.7 million earned from Friday and previous screenings. Thursday, Friday, 4.7 million. This sets a new record low for Sony's Marvel movies, performing lower than the $6 million haul by Madam Web earlier this year. The film is
Golly.
projected to have a weekend total of around 13 million, which would be lower than the 15.3 million from Madam Web. And the movie had 110 at least million.
And this is
dollar
easily better than Madam Web.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't you think Madam Web's kind of more fun to
Sure.
goof on? Like, I had more fun in Madam Web because
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
bad that we can
Yeah,
make
yeah,
fun
yeah.
of it.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
This movie has a semblance of a plot and like they're trying to do something, but it is really bad. It's self-serious, like we talked about. It is taking itself so seriously.
Yeah.
To where it's like you got to go one way or the other. Have a really good script and be serious, or you got to be a goofy movie
Yes. Yeah,
and
yeah,
have
yeah.
fun with it. And this landed in the middle, which just puts it in limbo of like you can't really goof
Well,
on
and
it.
I'm thinking that they held this so that it would get swallowed up, right? They didn't get the tax break. They didn't pull it and just say it was a tax
Yeah,
write-off.
but why not? That's my question.
Yeah.
Is like if you're going to release it to 13 million opening weekend, and it's
Yeah.
only going to go down from there. Like, why not just write it off at this
don't know.
point? What was the point of delaying it so long and then actually releasing
I
it?
do think it's funny that the
Unless they can get some kind of a huge write-off now, like maybe it's
because
more
it
of a
did-
write-off because they
did
can
so
put
bad.
losses under it or something.
I think it's funny that the in association with logo
Yeah.
it got bigger and bigger as these movies
oh
went
yeah,
on.
they're definitely trying to distance themselves.
But I think Sony has said they're like, look, we're done. Like
They said there's no plans.
There's no
at the
plans
moment.
for anything else. We're gonna focus. Sony's like, we're gonna focus on Spider-Man
Okay,
4, and I said, you're gonna focus on Spider-Man 4.
Right.
I think somebody
Well-
else is gonna
well,
focus on Spider-Man
but
4.
Here is the deal: if they have the rights to Spider-Man, I mean, we know they do, but like, if they can work out a deal with Marvel, this is what you do. Just like the Batman and DC, make it an Elseworlds worlds. Have your Spider-Man 4 or whatever your standalone Spider-Man is. Let the MC audiences are smart enough now, or like they can figure it out that there's 2 Spider-Man movies.
Sure.
Just do it. Like they cannot do these villain spin-offs. They
No.
need Spider-Man. And so if you're like, yeah, we can't have it because Marvel's tying it. No, just that's one and this is one.
Yep, I agree.
Done. Just like James Gunn said, Robert Pattinson is not the
Right.
DC whatever their new thing
Yet.
is not. No, but he said he will not be the Batman.
Yet,
Okay. But we've been told this whole time that the Batman is an Elseworlds.
yes,
And so
Yeah.
at least as he says it now, there's going to be a different Batman.
yeah.
And so they can do it, and we've seen it work.
We've seen different Spider-Man. We've seen them together.
Yeah.
You know. So yes, Spider-Man 4, Into the Spider-Verse 3,
Yeah.
3,
Part 2 of
Part 2 of whatever, and then Spider-Man Noir, which is for Amazon. Which is Nick.
Which, I mean, there you
I
go. That's
can't
another-
believe. I cannot believe that is getting made. Like it's wild
That's
to me
cool,
that that's
yeah.
getting made.
But I like that. Have different stories. Like they're
Right.
so beholden to these cinematic universes, but only one person's ever pulled that off.
Well, it's not even. It's not
and
even
they've even been struggling lately. So like
Yeah.
you need to
Yeah.
go back to just making good
That's-
standalone things.
This movie had me thinking about how interesting that is. Sort of right that like the MCU can't go out with a bang. Like it can
Yeah.
only go out on a whimper.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
sure.
anything
Endgame-
they do that's successful,
Yeah.
They're gonna make
make
more.
and more.
Yeah.
Right.
So it has to fail enough to go. We gotta pull the
Well,
plug.
they
on
Yeah.
they just signed Chris Evans.
Right.
Chris
Well, and
Evans is
that's-
coming back.
That's what's crazy is that now you've got Robert Downey Jr.'s back. I know as a different variant to be Doom or whatever, but then they signed Chris Evans, and it's like, man, they're
Can
just
you-
undermining everything they
I
just
don't.
did.
But we don't know what Chris Evans' story is. We don't know how his story ended.
I know, but every time you bring him back, it still reminds you of. I mean, Endgame wasn't that long ago, and it was so perfect. And it's like they have put so little. It's like making a live action Moana. They're
Yeah.
putting so little distance between their member berries now that it's like it just undermines everything.
I am interested. The Robert Downey Jr. thing is like, God damn it! Like I don't want that. The Chris Evans thing, I kind of do want because I do want to see Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man had an ending, right? Like his story was over. Chris
But
Evans
Cap had a beautiful ending, though.
But there's
like,
a
he got his
whole-
happy. I know, but they still ended it on a way to where like he gets the girl, he gets
The
to go live
arc
his
is
life.
done,
It is done, and
but
so like now you
he's
bring him
still
back
alive.
in any way, and they can just do that thing where it's
wait
like,
until he's evil Cap, and people are gonna
People
lose
loved it in
their
the comics. So
I was so good when he it would be. There's rumor. Obviously, nobody knows, but like they're like he could be Nomad. He could be, who? And I was like he could be Hydra Cap if we want. Like if we're saying that Robert Downey Jr. is Doctor Doom, why couldn't he be evil Captain America?
it's just weird that it's like I just feel like we can't ever like when they did the Iron Man thing and started from the beginning, like we covered on Patreon, the whole phase 1.
Yeah.
That was like the start of it. They made celebrities out of these people, right?
Sure.
Like Chris Evans was around, not another teen
Robert
movie,
Downey Jr.'s
whatever.
reputation was in the garbage.
I mean, it was kind of on the upstream, but whatever. But like, they made him now like the highest paid actor ever, or whatever. Like those movies made stars out of these celebrities that already were just working, but like they made them stars. And now it's like, why can't we just get the next version of that? No, it all has to be. We got to go back to those celebrities.
Well, because they didn't have a choice back then.
I
And
think-
now they have the pocketbook to.
Right.
have
But
a choice.
what's going to end up is an inferior product. They need
I-
to find their next original star,
I think
the new star.
that's what DC's doing.
Yeah,
I think Superman is going to
Yeah.
make David Cornsweet a
That's
star.
what I'm saying. He's not a.
I think the guy that's
yeah.
going to be the new Jon Stewart is going to be
Right.
like
oh
everybody's.
man,
Everybody's
did
like,
you guys watch Rebel
I
Ridge?
did.
Love it.
It was not great, but he was in. I was like, okay,
Jeremy Saulnier in Revenge, and
yeah.
come on.
But see but
made
that's
for
what
me.
James Gunn does, right? That's why he's in charge.
I think
and that's
everybody's the whole anti James Gunn thing is like they're not getting stars to be in these movies, and my comment on that is they didn't get star. Chris Pratt wasn't a star.
That's what I'm saying.
He was a nobody.
Their star
He was a
make-
guy on Parks and Rec.
And people were like,
That guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Zoe Saldana was not. I mean, Dave Bautista was kind of, but like
Yeah, he's a wrestler. I mean, I think people who
Knew
weren't into
him.
wrestling would be like, a wrestler, come on.
And now
John
that
Cena wasn't taken seriously until Peacemaker. I mean, he was doing a lot of goofy stuff. I know he had funny little cameos, but
but
like
I'm saying like the Marvel stuff. Tom Holland was a nobody. Tom Holland was a nobody.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was a Broadway kid.
He was a Broadway kid, and now he's a megastar. Like,
well, he was a West End
no.
well, okay.
kid.
But
He
I
was
mean,
Billy
like
Elliot in the West
that
End.
Kyle Chandler. I mean, people know who Kyle Chandler is, but now he's Hal Jordan. Like, that's gonna be a thing. He's gonna be Hal Jordan
people
forever.
know Kyle Chandler from
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
But
You couldn't tell me.
We're talking about people that did like.
No, but I think
But Hal Jordan will level him up. But
absolutely.
he's
I think
been
Hal
around
Jordan
long
is
enough, yeah.
is like the elder statesman.
yeah.
You know, Nicholas Hoult, right? Like he's people know who he is. But like those characters, when we get a new Wonder Woman, when we get a new Batman, a new Robin, a new Flash, like those are, I guarantee you, those are going to be people that you're like, I think I know who that person is. But like post DC, that's what DC is doing. James Gunn has taken the original Marvel method and transferred it to DC, and now I think we're going to see massive stars come out of these
I mean,
movies.
Christopher Reeve, right? He was an actor, but like
Not-
Superman.
I mean, I don't think he had starred in almost anything until he got Superman.
Yeah, he was pretty much an unknown.
Yeah.
Oh, he was on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, then
They
even more
wanted
to- but-
Burt Reynolds or Robert
right.
Redford or all these different Sylvester
But
Stallone.
my point is, he was not pop. I thought he had done a couple
No.
little things, but that made him a star, right? And that's what I mean is that
he
we need,
went on to do Death Trap with Michael Caine.
we need more roles, just like we mentioned with all that Marvel stuff that make stars. And now they're like, oh, we need to bring back after 4 years, 5 years, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and it's like, but no, we need a new Robert Downey Jr. We need a new Chris Evans.
You had an opportunity to do that,
yeah.
and they didn't do it.
I bet they'll bring Scarlett Johansson back soon
Of
enough.
course.
And
Of
it's
course.
like,
and Mark
well,
Ruffalo hasn't really left.
No.
He's kind of been, and Hemsworth is kind of the same way.
But wasn't Yelena supposed to be like the new? Like, I,
mean,
wonder
they
if
can-
this
they can still-
Thunderbolts
they
will
can-
work.
If Thunderbolts work,
I wonder if she will
and
get a
and I
bump from
do,
that.
but I do wonder if Thunderbolts work. Do they make the transfer from Sam to Bucky, which is a comic book thing? Like Bucky was Captain America.
That's a bad look, though.
It's
that's a real bad
it
look.
depends.
After one movie,
It's not just one movie. I mean, he had a whole TV series.
I know, but I'm just saying if they give him Cap for one movie
I think
and they
it depends.
transfer it to Bucky, that's gonna look
Right.
really.
It's
really
not
bad.
You're not wrong.
I don't think they will, and not in Disney's smarter than that.
Maybe.
Disney is known for, if not anything else, being
Inclusive.
yes.
Oh.
But they're also trying to get away from that.
Yes, they are.
I know, but
I think it
man,
really-
if you move it after one movie, that's just.
But I think it depends on the box office. I think if that movie works,
Yeah.
and it's successful, yes, we'll
I
keep
think it
Sam.
will.
Well, I don't know.
I think it will.
I don't know. Like that's the bottom.
They're going back to the Winter Soldier type
I hope
format.
that,
It's
I hope
it's
that it does.
espionage thriller. You know, I think that you are going to bring in the black demographic, just like Black Panther did. Remember how huge that movie was at the box office? I think you're going to have that perfect storm of it looks like a good movie, Marvel fans, you're going to get in the black demographic. I think that's all going to come together. And if it's good,
it's good.
especially, it will have some legs. But I mean, I think it looks really good from the trailer. I have
don't
seen that
know.
one.
I think
Really?
it's a good trailer.
I mean, those are that's like my favorite, like, second favorite. Guardians, the cosmic stuff is my favorite stuff. But like that Captain America world
Yeah.
is my favorite section of the Marvel comic book universe and the MCU. So I want it to be good.
Well, you don't think it looks good?
I don't know.
I know.
Like,
I'm just saying,
that's-
like, but what's your gut tell you? Do you think it looks bad?
I think
for
it
the
looks
trailer?
bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
that's what I was.
I think
okay.
it looks bad. I think it's I like the idea of Sam against the government. I like the
Yeah.
idea of, him trying I don't, fighting the Serpent Society, which I think they took out of the movie. When I start seeing they're going back for another round of reshoots. Their testings
Sure.
were not great. Like that does worry me a little bit.
But we've had a lot of movies that they go back for reshoots and end up being really good. Like sometimes reshoots
I
are
agree.
Good that you've done
Yeah.
it.
Yes, I
think I can't remember if James Gunn has done so. I was thinking there's someone that I know we talked to about in these big movies that did a reshoots, and I think it was James Gunn, and I think he was
Guardians
like,
3?
yeah, and I think James Gunn was like, reshoots are perfectly normal because
I mean,
people
all
are
movies have reshoots.
yeah, but like the
It just
Snyder
depends.
verse crowd was like, oh, it's reshoots, it's gonna fail, and then I think it was James Gunn that came out and he goes, reshoots are a perfectly normal part of movies where you go and you just find little things or whatever. Like they're not always to
reshoots
save a movie. They're
killed the
just to-
Snyderverse because they screwed it up so bad to begin with. They're like, we got to take that mustache off that guy. And
That's true. Oh
like
man,
that's-
reshoots did.
that's why the Snyderverse people freak out about
Hate reshoots,
reshoots.
that's
Is
what-
because that's what
Oh,
happened
it's
to
just
that
projection.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
right,
makes sense
exactly.
now.
So I want it to work.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. I want it to be
And
successful.
this Sony
I'm just-
Marvel
I'm-
did not.
I've decided I'm gonna be the Sonyverse guy.
Oh, you're gonna be the
That's me.
Sonyverse guy.
I'm gonna try
You
to
should
get
make that your
Netflix
whole-
is gonna buy it. They're gonna bring it back. They're
It's
gonna,
always Netflix. No matter what
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
property
right,
is,
right, right.
no matter how many streamers there are, Netflix is going to be the one to
if
say
they
it.
just would have let them finish it out.
Release the Sonyverse.
Yeah, release it. Thank
I
you.
hope J.C. Chandor, the director of this movie, goes on to do his own sci-fi original epic
my
on
favorite,
Netflix.
one of my favorite quotes from a director is from him.
What'd he
he
say?
said, "If this is successful, I'd really like to do Craven's Last Hunt." And it's like, at least you
Sure.
put your expectations low. Like,
I'll
if this works, maybe.
kind of as just sort of a button on my thoughts on this movie. The movie I watched right after this that I'd never seen was Pink Flamingos. So that
John
was
Waters?
Yeah.
Okay,
So that was sort of my two movies.
that is a
cleanser.
wild
And
1-2 punch.
it's really interesting to watch a movie that technically is certainly not very good, right? But made for no money. All these people clearly wanting to make it, right? And with a very clear vision
Yeah.
to make the filthy, repulsive movie, right? And it's evident. Like, it's evident that they liked... Now, I wouldn't recommend it necessarily to anyone unless I knew them very well. I did enjoy it, and there's certainly parts I didn't enjoy, which I think
What's the
intended.
point? Yeah.
And then to see this millions and millions of dollars so
know.
competently, like, the sets are good, the actors are good,
I know.
it's lit well, it's so much, but it's just like
You got to grade on a curve. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no other way to do it. Like
Workmanlike.
we talk about that with indie movies, and people like they're there to prove themselves, and they're doing it on a
Right.
shoestring budget. And even if like it's not the best movie ever, but it's like they did they worked
Yeah,
with what they
yeah,
had.
yeah.
And then you see a movie like this, there's no excuse with these
and it
actors and
does
this budget.
just seem like no passion any.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hate to say it because obviously I don't know. Maybe the lighting guy was just like, this is going to be the best.
Lit movie.
movie.
It's gonna be lit.
That look at
But
you.
it feels
Look, that
very
was
much
good.
like this is like fast food compared to like a family owned diner.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go to the Pink Flamingos diner, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just like a bummer to watch.
Well, this is an interesting
It's
movie.
just a joyless experience.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes.
even a bad movie made passionately can be more enjoyable.
Yeah.
This is kind of an interesting gun for hire, though. So the J.C.
I just looked this guy
J.C.
up.
Chandor did All Is Lost, which is that Robert Redford movie, I believe,
Yeah.
where he's just by himself
Yeah.
in the ocean. And then he did A Most Violent Year, which I thought was really good with Oscar Isaac and Jessica Chastain. And then they wanted to do Triple Frontier, which I believe was a Netflix action movie.
I think
that
we
wasn't.
covered- I think we
I think we
covered that.
covered it. It was bad. It was like Charlie Hunnam, Ben
Ben
Affleck,
Affleck.
Oscar Isaac.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah,
Pedro
yeah.
Pascal. It was bad, whatever. But then he's doing Craven the Hunter. And I'm like, but All Is Lost, A Most Violent Year, very art house, very well written. You know what I mean? And it's just interesting to make the jump. I'm not sure, not that they haven't moneyballed it before, but I'm curious how J.C. Chandor comes in and does Craven from.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this one.
We killed it, gentlemen.
Yes.
We killed two of them.
Let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find them.
Look, my name's on the episode. Okay, if you can't find me from that, you
Matt
don't,
F. Bosler's Real Spoilers.
you don't deserve to find me. You know what I mean? Like,
Hey, do a little detective work like our boy
Yeah,
Craven,
like our
the
boy
world's
Craven.
greatest detective.
Craven.
if you want
Zoom in
more
on
of this,
Hey, zoom in on Matt's mustache. Look at the crumbs.
Find the cigarettes.
Find the
Yeah.
cigarettes. Yeah.
and find me.
There it is.
Yeah.
This is Joey. You can follow me on the Twitter at JoeyButts, BUTTS21, and on Letterboxd at the same. Also, Matt's not going to promote it, but I will
Oh,
for
sure.
Matt. He's doing a pretty sweet holiday shirt. I don't know if you can see that. We'll put that right up there. Look at that bad boy right there.
Looks good.
It's
I wore
pretty
mine
great.
yesterday.
Pretty great next to
Basler
the next
screen
to the
printing.
That's
That's a
right.
different guy. It's a different character for everything. So
Well,
that's
well, this is Matt Basler, according to Tom. That's
Yes.
Basler
Right,
screen
right,
Basler
right.
screen
So
printing.
it's
It'll look perfect next to my Krampus shirt from last year.
If you want that guy from Basler screen printing on, you have to tell me that beforehand.
Yeah.
I would have done this
He's
totally
a different
different.
guy. I'm gonna cut mine down the middle and wear a half Krampus, half
Yeah.
reindeer. Can you imagine?
I love it.
That's pretty
I'm
metal.
not going to do that.
Oh.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at Kevin R. Brackett.
And this is Tom. You can find me on Blue Sky and Threads at Tom O'Keefe Jr. or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our Patreon. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, the guide reaches the Colonial Fort.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.